It's 2 in the morning. The room is dark. Your body is exhausted. Everything is quiet. But your mind won't stop. Why did they say that? What if tomorrow goes wrong? Maybe I should have answered differently. What if I made the wrong decision? What are people going to think of me? Your body is in bed, but your mind is replaying conversations that already ended and solving problems that don't exist yet. And here's the question I want you to sit with. Why does your brain do this, even when you desperately want it to stop? Don't answer yet, because the answer is not what you expect. There's something your brain confuses constantly, and that confusion is at the root of most of your mental exhaustion. Your brain confuses thinking with solving. They are not the same thing. Thinking can lead you to a solution, but it can also keep you trapped, spinning around the same problem for hours, without getting one step closer to any answer. Has this happened to you? Rereading the same message 20 times looking for a hidden meaning, imagining why someone didn't respond, replaying an argument over and over in your head, worrying for days about a meeting that hasn't happened yet. Every loop feels like progress, but it isn't. It's just noise. And your brain can't tell the difference. But here's where it gets even stranger. Your brain has one very specific job: predict threats before they happen. For thousands of years, that was perfect. If you anticipated danger, you survived. If you ignored the warning signs, you didn't make it. So your mind developed an extraordinarily efficient system for detecting potential problems and keeping them active in your awareness until you found a solution. Neuroscientists call this rumination. It's when your mind keeps returning to the same thought, the same scenario, the same worry, like an engine that can't shut off. And here's the most unsettling part. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a real danger happening right now and an imaginary one that only exists in your mind. The emotional response can be remarkably similar. Repeatedly imagining that something bad might happen can trigger a real stress response, even though the event itself isn't happening. Your heart rate can climb, stress hormones can rise, your system prepares to act. Even when there's nothing to face, even when everything is perfectly fine, even when it's 2 in the morning and the only thing that's real is the silence of your room. And this is the mistake almost nobody catches. Picture this. Monday morning, someone tells you that Friday you have an important meeting, an evaluation, a difficult conversation, something that creates uncertainty. And from that moment, your mind starts working. You imagine how it could go wrong. You rehearse answers to questions nobody has asked yet. You anticipate every negative scenario. You analyze every possible complication. By Wednesday, you're already exhausted. Not from real work. From the imaginary work your mind has been doing non-stop. And when Friday finally arrives, the meeting lasts 20 minutes and goes perfectly fine. 5 days of real stress for a problem that never existed. Your brain's threat system may have sounded the alarm on Monday, and your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain involved in reasoning, planning, and decision-making, tried to solve a problem it couldn't solve because there wasn't enough information yet, because the future hadn't happened yet, because no amount of analysis can give you certainty about something that doesn't exist yet. And yet your brain kept trying. And this is where the Stoics discovered something extraordinary. Almost 2,000 years ago, a man wrote something that reads like modern psychology. His name was Epictetus, and he taught something that can cut many overthinking cycles at the root. Some things are up to us, others are not. It sounds simple, until you actually apply it. The Friday meeting? Not entirely up to you. You can prepare, you can do your best. But the final outcome isn't completely in your hands. Spending 5 days analyzing it, that is something you can learn to interrupt. And that's the key. Your mind often suffers not from the problem itself, but from trying to mentally control what is outside your control. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He repeatedly returned to the importance of directing attention toward your own actions, rather than becoming consumed by other people's behavior and opinions. He wasn't asking for indifference, he was pointing to something very specific. The mental energy spent on what you cannot control is energy you no longer have for what you actually can change. But there's something else your brain does constantly. Something that makes overthinking almost impossible to stop from the inside. It's called negativity bias. Your brain tends to give negative information more attention and weight than positive information. From an evolutionary perspective, that made sense. Missing a threat could be dangerous. Missing something good might only mean losing an opportunity. So your mind learned to give more weight to potential danger. That's why criticism can stay with you longer than praise. That's why you may anticipate problems more easily than opportunities. That's why at 2 in the morning, your mind doesn't always remind you of everything that went well today. It reminds you of exactly what could go wrong tomorrow. And the more you think about it, the more emotionally real it can become. The more energy it consumes, the harder it gets to stop. But your brain has another reason for doing this, one that very few people ever realize. Worrying feels like doing something. That is one of the most sophisticated traps of overthinking. When you analyze a problem for hours, your brain can interpret that mental activity as effort, as if you were actually working toward a solution. But if the problem has no solution right now, or if it's not up to you, that mental effort produces nothing useful. Only more anxiety, more exhaustion, more difficulty making decisions when you actually need to. Research on rumination and repetitive negative thinking has linked these patterns with greater psychological distress, difficulty concentrating, and problems with decision-making. Not because thinking is bad, but because thinking without direction, without a clear boundary, about things you cannot resolve right now, doesn't necessarily bring you closer to an answer. It can simply pull you further from the present. And the present is the only place where you can actually act. So what can you do? There are 3 questions that can interrupt an overthinking cycle before it consumes hours of your life. The next time your mind starts spinning around the same thought, ask yourself this first question. Is this happening right now? Or is it only happening in my mind? If it's only happening in your mind, you may be responding to an imagined threat with real emotional energy. Second question, is there a concrete action I can take today? If the answer is yes, take it. Even one small action can help break the cycle. If the answer is no, recognize something important. Continuing to think about it is not necessarily giving you more control. It may only be costing you more energy. Third question. Is this up to me? If it's up to you, act. If it's not up to you, stop trying to resolve it mentally. Not because it doesn't matter, but because no amount of analysis can give you complete control over something outside your reach. Epictetus spent his life teaching exactly this, not as resignation, as discipline, as a more efficient way to use the mind you have. I want you to understand something. Your mind is an extraordinary tool, but it was not designed to govern you every second of every day. Thinking more doesn't always mean understanding more. Worrying more doesn't mean you're more prepared, and anticipating every possible scenario doesn't mean you have more control. Real mental discipline is not thinking more. It's knowing when to think and when to stop. When something is happening right now, think. When something is within your control, act. When something is not up to you, learn to let it go. When your mind tries to solve the future at 2 in the morning, remind it that the future hasn't happened yet, and that the only moment where you have real power is this one. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. New content like this every week. And in the next video, you'll discover something important. There's another modern habit that is quietly weakening your mind without you noticing. The inability to remain in silence. See you there.